So the dinner I'm eating is the edamame pasta with pasta sauce that I made the other day, and I canned most of it, and it's just waiting for when I'm too exhausted to make food or whatever. But it has the murad beans in it and tomatoes and a bunch of stuff. Anyway, it's good. I don't eat this too often because, well, I'm a little wary about eating soy now. Because I don't want to have any more reproductive health issues for the rest of my life. But I am glad that this is organic, this product. So I'm relieved at that, so I'm not worried about that aspect, about the soup. And it's actually good. I wish that they'd come out with this in my youth, because I was eating loads of soy anyway. And I don't think anybody would have been able to convince me not to back then, so this would have been a healthier option for me. Now, that's still a bit hot. Adult life skills. It's on right now. It was that boring that I was like, that's it, I don't want to watch it. I'm just going to eat my dinner out here where I can soak up some free vitamin D. And I guess I got food on myself earlier. That's okay. I don't really care. The little bits of this that I caught, I wish that I had been, well, my mom lives in northern Alberta, so I wish that I wouldn't have been living in her shed in my young adult years, but because it would have been cold. But if my mom lived somewhere nice, then that would have been a very sensible way to save money, living in mom's shed while I worked, and rather than paying rent to other people. So I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, people living. I guess it's like tiny houses. A lot of people will do that nowadays, or well, some. We'll just park a tiny house in someone else's yard, like a family member's yard. I had a hair on that. Why not? I wanted to build myself a tiny house, but then every time I bring it up, James is like, people go crazy in those things. But, I think the thing is I think a lot of us remember having had a tree fort or something like that, and when we were little, and we miss it. We think, wouldn't it be nice if I had a tree fort now? And why not? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Why not have one? Why not have 10? Why not have 10 little houses rather than one big one? You can have them in all different styles. You can make like a mini Taj Mahal or something for yourself, and a mini whatever. Be a lot more interesting. So what I really wanted to talk about was orgasms. I don't think many women have them. I know when I was young, for a long time, I thought that I had them. My male partner, did you have an orgasm? They'd ask. Oh yeah, it's great. And at one point I actually had one. I thought I had one. I never lied about I read this book, Faking It. And I never understood that, why anybody would fake it, Somebody try harder rather than try less hard. I don't know. Anyway. But the fact of the matter is, I actually didn't know. Until I had one. And then it was very obvious. And a man or woman, whoever is with the woman who's having the orgasm, never has to ask, did you have an orgasm? Did you notice the cup or a liter of fluid jutting out of her vagina? She had one. If you didn't notice that, she did not. It's really as simple as that. And also, James and I were talking about erections, male erections, because they're, he says, you must, he was reading this site about the average, I guess it was put out by some organization that does penile enhancement surgeries or something like that. Anyway, so James is thinking, well, they probably boost the average up so that guys would be like, ooh, I'm under average and I better get the procedure done. And they had other stats on there saying, women prefer this, and a certain percentage of women will turn a man down because his penis is too small. And I thought, I would never do that. I mean, what's the harm in... Anyway, and pretty much every woman that I've talked to, like, I used to be part of a group of friends where we talked really openly about sex, and pretty much the consensus was, if he has some skills, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, but James was saying, so I told James that, and he was saying, well, you must admit that if a man is larger, then it's like getting a standing ovation when you're there with them. Then it's like saying, it's like them without having them to say that you're obviously really hot or whatever, right? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. But honestly, I don't know. Anyway, and so then it got on to female erections. We were talking about that. And how it's like, well, James used to like watching pornography, and I do not think that pornography is good. I think it just perpetuates misinformation. And besides, nobody should make money off of somebody else's sex. So that's screwed up. But anyway, so we were talking about that. And I was saying, it would just be revolting for me to see somebody, like, I guess they get the money shot, right? They get close-ups. And to see somebody, a woman, who's not erect in the, in the scene. Because I guess James was talking about how they always want to start the action off with a man already erect. because it's a turn off to see him flaccid. And I can see that. But it's also a turn off to see a woman limp, right? It should be. And people should notice what it looks like when a woman is actually erect. I mean, things swell out. It's obvious. Unless you don't know what you're looking for. And if you don't, well, you'd better learn, because if you want to be involved with somebody, if you want to be having sex with somebody, both of you should be erect. Really. And we were talking about all this stuff, like the AIDS and pornography and stuff, because James was saying that California, I think he was saying they recently voted down something requiring the porn industry to wear condoms. Because, so I guess people decided, oh, we don't care that much about the health of prostitutes. They're not prostitutes. That was a slip. The health of the actors in the porn industry, rather than they care more about the look of seeing that naked erect penis, I guess. Whatever. And you could say, well, just get frequent health checks and this and that, but anyway. Well, what I was saying, James, is that I think, you know how there's a percentage of people that actually don't get at HIV or whatever when they're having sex. There's a certain number of people that don't. And it's an impressive figure, actually. Well, anyway, so what I was saying to James is I think that a lot of the time vaginal fluid helps keep people from getting diseases, because it's made to fight off infections. So, well, it's made to do a number of things. It's very, very good. Anyway, so I'm thinking that, you know, since I think that certain activities that require the use of lubricant, and that could be just sex with a woman who's not aroused, period. But certain activities that require the use of lubricant just increase the risk of disease. I think people need to be more in touch with their own bodies and making sex as naturally enjoyable as possible. There are certain fluids that are there for a reason, and anyway, I just wanted to talk about that because I think it's ridiculous that, and you know, I watch these shows that are supposed to be, these movies that are supposed to be progressive, where women they have their orgasm and then they turn over and they're like, oh yeah, I'm done now, whatever. And it's like there's no, wow, you know, yeah, you had an orgasm or anything, and it doesn't seem like they have. It's not you know, just not pulling out the towel and go, wow, I soaked through that one. Whatever, you know. And I've read a lot of books on sex because I'm interested in such things. I read a lot of everything. Anyway, and I've read books that are teaching people how to do certain things or whatever, sexual things, and or teaching people about their bodies, and they get it all wrong, and it's really frustrating. There was one book that I actually read about they mentioned female ejaculation, and they said that it came from the urethra. Nope. You need to get a better look. Doesn't come from there. There's no urine involved with that. Obviously, you need to put your face closer to the action so you can actually see what's going on. It's really obvious. What else? There was something else that was annoying that I was reading recently. I don't know. Can't remember. Anyway, that's enough for today.